Welcome to your weekly SOULstrology show. It's Power Coach Alicia here, and we are talking all about the archetype of Leo, which is the archetype of the heart. I'm Power Coach Alicia, and I specialize in helping you heal your soul, deepen your connection in your relationships, and transform your wealth using your birth chart and soul healing combined together. So with that being said, I want to really walk you through Leo, helping you meet Leo, and then invite you into a free workshop that I have coming up this week, actually. So Leo is a fixed fire archetype, and it's ruled by the sun. And so when you think about this, the sun is life force. The sun is prana energy. And it's also with the fire there, it's driven, it's action oriented, it's dedicated, it perseveres. Now, that's also that masculine energy, right? The action, push, force, hustle, must do, should do, have to, in good ways and bad ways if you're in the shadow. But Leo also says, listen, stand in your motherfucking power of your badassery with full confidence and be unbothered by what anyone thinks or any pressure that anyone wants to put on you or anything like that. Leo is all about that full expression of the heart, of love, of pleasure, of personal fucking power. And so this whole month, Leo's been saying, hey, this is the energy. Okay. Hey, this is where you stand. This is where you move. This is where you're being guided. And when we get into the free Leo workshop that I have for you coming up on August 20th, I'm going to show you where Leo lives in your birth chart and how to use this energy for Leo in your chart. And I'm sure I have this in my notes that we're going to be talking about throughout this show today. But the misconception is that, well, I'm not a Leo, so that this doesn't have anything to do with me. And that is very inaccurate, because you don't need to be a Leo to have Leo energy impacting you through your chart and your houses, right? And where it lives throughout your chart. So again, we'll dive into that inside of the workshop. It is a free workshop, but I want to give you the lay of the land here to kind of help you understand like what this means and just give you the base of Leo so that when you step into that workshop, it'll help it make even more sense. So like I said, the element is fire, and fire moves fast. I always say fire signs are ready, fire, aim, right? Moving fast decisions, dedicated perseverance. It's fast action. It's let's fucking go, right? Fire moves fast. It destroys a lot. It is very, very, very powerful, and it's hard to be stopped, right? That's a Leo, especially if you're standing in your power, if you're standing in your confidence, standing in your badassery, being unbothered by what's around. I always say this when you talk about Leo, right? Leo is a lion. Look at a lion in a zoo. It doesn't give a fuck that the people are there looking at it and what they think about it and what they think it should and shouldn't be doing and how it, how they think it should and shouldn't be moving and why it's just laying there in the sun, just basking in its glory and not really doing much for the people who are watching it. It doesn't parade around or do the things because of the people. It does it because that's what it wants to do. And if it doesn't want to do it, it doesn't do it. And that's where that fixed comes in. Fixed means very hard to move, right? The Leo is, you might say stubborn if you want to be in the shadow side of it, or you might say decisive and clear and moving the way it wants to move, regardless of what someone else thinks. And like I said, ruled by the sun. And so Leo teaches you to fully inhabit the woman that you already are. In my world, in the Queendom Online, the Queendom in person, everything I do is to teach you how to honor the woman that you already are through your soul's blueprint, which is your birth chart, using my healing modalities in order to do that. So when you take this a step further, you can look at the energy of Leo as a whole, right? Expression without, using a lot of words, expression without making a lot of effort, right? When you look at a lion and the way that a lion sits, a lion says, listen, I'm expressing myself without a lot of hoopla. Like, you know what the lion thinks, you know what the lion feels, you know that the lion is unbothered. Keep in mind though, that this expression, the creativity, the confidence, the visibility, the pleasure is all through heart, right? Leo rules the heart. Now, that might be a misconception, and that means that, Leo rules love. No, 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 no. Leo rules the literal heart of the body, the heartbeat, what makes things move, what makes things alive, what makes things breathe, including your body and the universe and all of that. So Leo rules every single bit of this through the heart. Yes, love is part of that, but Leo isn't about love. There's other signs that are more about love and loving love, and they're ruled by different planets and that. You want to think of Leo as life force. Like without your heart, you die, right? That's what Leo is about. Leo is about creativity through the heart, confidence through the heart, pleasure through the heart, visibility through the heart. Like when you look at that, that is from the inside out instead of the outside in. Leo is about how Leo moves. Now, through this shadow, it can seem like Leo needs to be center of attention, or everything is about Leo, all eyes on the Leo archetype, the selfishness, da 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 da. But we're really looking at like the esoteric energy of what Leo brings to the table, and it's that creativity you have from the heart, how you show up from the heart, the pleasure that you receive and you give from your heart, the way that you're visible from your heart. Leo says, fuck everyone and everything else. What the fuck do you want? How do you move? What's your badassery? And how do you show up in that fucking energy? Leo is so powerful in its unbotheredness when it is in the light side of it. And when you are synced to that Leo energy, and depending on where it is in your chart, it can really bring life force to that area of your life and really make it feel that warmth like the sunshine and that fullness like that life force. But if you're in the shadow of that, it's going to feel like shit, right? And that's how it is with every archetype. So we're going to look at through how Leo moves through your life, okay? So through your soul, it's like, who are you when you fully express yourself? Taking that deep, right? It's like, who are you when you fully express yourself unapologetically authentic, without shrinking yourself, without putting yourself in a box that, someone's trying to put you in, or that you try to put yourself in, or without, being under the thumb of someone else's expectations and how they control how you move, or what your things are, where you go, or what you do, right? It's like when you fully express yourself in all of its beauty, in how you move, how you are, how you love, how you stand, like whatever it is from your soul. Leo says, I do this as my authentic motherfucking self, and I am unbothered by what other people think. And let me be clear. I know that it's challenging to not care what other people think. But if you look at a lion in a zoo, a lion does not give a fuck that you are there looking at it. The lion is thinking about what the fuck it's doing. It lays there in the sun for hours, licking itself and being with itself and connecting with itself. And it gets up and it moves around and it gets water. A lion moves the fastest ever when it's food. When it's time for it to eat, it has one focus. It moves like, the speed of light. It's dedicated. It does what it has to. It exerts all of its energy for that. It exerts all of its energy towards its life force. And so when you look at Leo for your soul, it's calling you into, are you using the majority of your energy for your soul's sunshine, for your soul's life force, for you living from your badassery, from you living from your heart, and how you show up in your pleasure and your creativity and your confidence and your visibility? That's what Leo's asking in the soul. Now, when you move to Leo in love, it's like, can I allow myself to be deeply seen? See, Leo's like, this is all of me. This is who the fuck I am. And deal with it if you like and don't if you don't. I really don't give a fuck. But when you look at the lion from the outside, and we go back to this archetype of this animal, this literal lion, the lion looks like it's unbothered and all the things that we've said. Also, though, to really understand the lion, to understand the Leo, you've got to connect with that part of yourself, and then also heal the things that keep you blocked. Because one of the shadows is, Leo keeping to itself and not really sharing that, not really speaking up, not really saying the things. See, that's part of that shadow. And so when you're standing in the light and the sun and the life force energy of the Leo, it's looking at who's in front of you and the environment in front of you and saying, am I safe to be fully and deeply seen in this environment? And if you're not, with the Leo energy, you're not going to move. You're not going to open up. You're not going to step into that because fuck that shit, right? And so the wealth of the Leo is like, where am I being called to lead and create and take up space? See, the natural energy of a woman specifically is to not take up too much space, to not be too much, to kind of more be in the background and not, speak up too much or not ruffle feathers or not create conflict, not be a fucking problem, right? And Leo says, fuck all of that. Step forward. Where are you being called to lead and create and to actually take up motherfucking space? And if there's people and circumstances and things that don't allow you to do that, the lion says, fuck you, fuck that, and here the fuck I am. And the thing about that is we're so concerned with everyone else that literally we're all one decision away from changing our entire environment. One decision away from all of our friends being different, all of our activities being different, the way that we live our life being different. But we live as though we're so far away from that, right? And so Leo is calling you to lead and step into the place where you can go full steam ahead, blazing the trail of the fire, being unbothered by what's around because you've got you are moving and you know where the fuck you're going, right? That is how Leo moves through your life. That's how Leo calls you forward. All right. So when Leo is fully expressed, when it's light and it's bright and it's power, you feel courageous, right? You're willing to step out and do things. You feel generous and you're really in this leadership position. And again, we're back into that leadership unbothered. There's a difference between being a leader and being bothered and letting collapse you and taking over you, and being a leader and stepping up into leadership and knowing that you are moving and people are coming with you. They're saying yes, they're doing that, or they're fucking not, but you're not going to allow yourself to be collapsed and stopped and fit into boxes and made small because they're not coming with you or because they don't see you, because you know where you're going. You know your life force, right? You know that direction. And again, you're blazing that. And a Leo loves to celebrate their accomplishments and where they've been and themselves, right? With that creative power and layering and play and self-expression and that heart-led confidence, right? And again, we'll talk more about how this connects to you inside of the Leo workshop. And it's absolutely free. You can go to workshop.powercoachalicia.com. It'll be up on the screen in just a second. It's going to be in the description, in the notes. Workshop.powercoachalicia.com is where you can go and you can register for this. It's on August 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. There will be a very limited time for replay, maybe 48 hours if you don't do the VIP upgrade. If you do the VIP upgrade, you'll get lifetime access. So this is the Leo archetype as a whole and overarching. That workshop will show you where it lives in your birth chart and how to start using that for your healing, your energy and direction. And then if you move forward into the Queendom, the online community, you start learning all about your birth chart, all the different aspects and all the things that really help you come into your own rhythm. So this is the Leo when it's fully expressed. I want to talk about when Leo is asking for healing. So if you are asking for approval, right? And you want people to give you that validation and that external approval before you say yes to yourself, before you step forward, before you move, that's the shadow side of Leo. And wherever Leo is in your chart, let's say it's Leo in your first house of identity, like you're asking for approval outside yourself to be fucking you. Right? Another place that Leo asks for healing is invisibility. Oh, I don't want to step out there. I don't want to be on the stage. I don't want to be center of attention. I don't want everybody looking at me. I don't want all eyes on me. I don't want all of that. Why? What are you scared of? Are you scared that people are going to see who you truly are and not like you? Remember, you're one decision away from creating a different environment, a different tribe, a different energy, the way that you move, the things that you experience. You're one decision away from that. At the end of the day, if the people that are around you, if they don't know who you are authentically, the people in your quality world, or even, in your career, your job, your business, whatever it is, and you're editing yourself for all these fucking people just to be accepted, Leo says, fuck all of that. And again, if Leo's in your first house, this is going to be a huge battle between your authentic self and who you fakely show up as, right? And that's where the performance comes in. Oh, I'm going to perform to be what I think they want me to be, or what they've shown me that they want me to be, because I'm afraid that if I show them who I am, I won't have anyone, right? And in creative expression, if you're forcing yourself to create things and to do things and to be in this container that you think is the best container, right? and you're not doing it from the place that feels good and that you're led from your soul, Leo says, again, fuck all that. Do what you want, be who you want, step in the light. It doesn't mean that it won't be hard. It doesn't mean that it won't be uncomfortable. However, I don't know who said it, what quote, what fucking thing that I was listening to, but choose your fucking hard. Is the hard that you want to choose like making yourself small and putting yourself in a box and editing yourself so you can keep these fucking people around you and be completely disconnected from yourself and not recognize yourself when you look in the mirror and not take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally? That's the hard you want over fucking having yourself, holding yourself, being in rhythm with yourself, knowing you've got yourself, making decisions from confidence and being in your rhythm and moving from that rhythm and knowing that you've got your own back and that you're going to be fucking okay? You're willing to sacrifice that? So you're willing to live day in and day out in this kind of like fog and disconnectedness from yourself just to have the people around you? Like, what the fuck is up with that, right? And the thing is you can get really prideful as a Leo and believe like, no, I don't need to do that, or I'm better than that, or da-da-da-da. And you can make decisions for yourself that the pride is leading in the collapse of your soul. And if you're not getting the recognition that you need in the journey and the decisions that you make and the accomplishments that you have, then you don't want to do them, right? You don't want to move. You don't want to make those decisions. That was something really hard for me when I left the direct sales MLM industry. I was at the top. I was winning all the time. I was beating the best person. I was doing all of these things. And when I stepped away from that and built my coaching business, it's like, who the fuck is recognizing me now? The people in my quality world barely even give a fuck about what I'm doing and how I'm successful at it, even though they're benefiting off of it. And so I didn't have the recognition. I didn't have the validation. It was really, really hard for me. And so I overperformed. I overworked to get that from my clients. And my name was in lights and an edited version of myself and all of these different things that you can listen to on the podcast, soulfirepodcast.com. Started episode 1. You'll get to hear about my life and how I transformed and how I healed and how I created frameworks and still how I heal and transform today, right? But I built $1 million, $500,000 business in that fucking energy because that recognition drove me, and it actually drove me into the ground. And then that leads us to comparison, right? If you are, feeling like an imposter, you're always comparing yourself to other people. You're worried about what other people think. We've been talking about dimming your light, editing yourself, shrinking into boxes. That's where Leo says, we don't do that. Leo, back in that fully expressed, says, man, we're courageous. We stand in our motherfucking power. We express ourselves as who the fuck we are. We lead from our heart, but we're confident as fuck. One thing I want to say right here is people will say to me when I lead from a place of confidence, when I speak in confidence, they like to have these fucking, diminishing and disregarding statements like humble much. No, fuck you. I've worked my ass off to be this person. I've worked my ass off to grow into a better person for myself, how I show up, how I talk to people, how I treat people. So if I'm going to say that I'm amazing at this or I'm proud of myself for that, I am not going to shrink that down because that makes you feel inferior and uncomfortable, right? That's my heart-led confidence, but people are really uncomfortable with that. So keep in mind when you're in the power of Leo and your power of yourself and you're stepping into that and you're living that, there are tests like where people will like to say those things. No, fuck those people. I don't need to be humble to make you feel comfortable. Life fucking humbles me every single motherfucking day. I don't need to live up to that humbleness of someone else and what they think, because goddamn am I brought to my knees a lot, right? In and like day in and day out in my life. So I'm going to own the fucking power. I'm going to own what I've done. I'm going to own what I've created. I'm going to own how I've transformed. I'm going to own how I heal. And I'm never going to fucking apologize for that, even if someone doesn't like it. Right? And so that's what I'm doing my best to bring to the table for you. Right? So the next part of this is, Leo through the elements. We've talked about Leo being a fire sign, and, fire is about moving, expression, action, doing, being, and not giving a fuck about the rest. When I look at fire signs, it's like ready, fire, aim. In a Leo, it's ready, fire, aim, and how you show up and authentically express yourself. Yeah, there's going to be, a little bit of learnings along the way, because when it's a ready, fire, aim, you're not really thinking. I used to express very brashly and directly and aggressively. And if you piss me off now, after my patience wears out, then you're going to get that from me. But my growth is that I have learned that I can go through my steps. I can take my action. I can have my patience. I can be understanding. I can see, hear, and care where someone's coming from, but that has a threshold and a mark. And when it gets to that threshold and a mark, if you fuck around, my fire is going to burn you down. And I'm not sorry for that, right? Like a Leo has that fire and that expression and that power, right? And so I'm using these examples to kind of show you. My Aries generally takes over that, but fire is fire. So, well, fire is fire. And then the archetype tells you where that fire is, directed. And with Leo, that fire is directed from yourself, from the inside out, with your authentic expression. So Leo, through an earth placement, right? And where it is and where it's showing up, let's say it's a house that's ruled by an earth sign, it's literally embodying it, embodying who you are, embodying how you show up, embodying your badassery, embodying, the person that you are striving to, transform and heal and connect with and value and honor and respect. And then when you have Leo through the air energy, it's speaking it with power and confidence unapologetically. And when you layer that with water, it's feeling it and allowing those feelings to be fully felt without controlling them or diminishing them or making them something that they're not. So when we talk about working with Leo and bringing it into your life, we're saying create, those environments and your experiences without worry, and play in life and have fun and enjoy with whatever that looks like and however that feels, without, again, the outside approval for what that looks like. Express yourself authentically for who the fuck you are. And if you've built an entire tribe that can't hold you, fuck them all and start over. Celebrate every single fucking step that you've taken. This has been a hard one for me because I'm a pusher. I'm a go-getter. I'm a go, do. We're not looking at the past. We're looking at what we're creating. And so Leo reminds me to slow down and celebrate, because man, have I been through a lot. Man, have I grown through a lot. Man, have I healed from a lot. Man, have I carried a lot. Man, has this been really fucking hard for me. And instead of being a bitter, resentful, fuck the world sort of person, I love deeper, I love more, I give more. However, I do everything in my power to give that to myself first. And then Leo also says, be seen. Because the more that you're seen and your power and your badassery and your authentic self, then that just gives someone else the confidence in order to do that, right? So this is where you ask yourself, where is my heart asking me to take up more space? This is a hard question. It's an uncomfortable question, because the truth is, it's like you are usually working to not take up too much, to not be too much, to not be seen too much, to not impact too much, to not affect too much. Why? Be all that you fucking are. Live in every way that you are. Create a life that holds you, not one that you have to edit to be held. And that just comes from me creating a life that doesn't hold me. I wish somebody would have gave me that advice. This is why I love astrology. It's helped me grow so fucking much. So when we look at where Leo lives in your chart, it's the house that reveals where this archetype is asking to be lived, healed, and expressed through you. And we're going to look at that inside of the Leo workshop. We're going to discover where Leo lives in your birth chart. We're going to find your Leo placement. You're going to understand your personal Leo expression. You're going to discover the life area that it activates and begin working with this archetype as it is in your chart. I'm reminding you one more time, Leo is in your chart, even if you're not a Leo and your main signs. It lives through the houses. It lives through the aspect. There is a lot going on in your chart. And I guess I wouldn't say a lot, but there are places that Leo is going on in your chart. For some people, it's a hell of a lot more than others. Okay. So it's August 20th, 6 p.m. Eastern. Go to workshop.powercoachalicia.com. Again, that's workshop.powercoachalicia.com. Get signed up for it. And we're going to dive into where Leo lives in your birth chart and help you start to layer this and connect this to you in a way that it's practical, usable, simple, and sustainable. So workshop.powercoachalicia.com, and hopefully we'll see you on the workshop. I mean, I really look forward to that. And we'll see you next week for next week's SOULstrology show, where we step into